That's all we needed. And that'll be our new start. That's it.
I think that's more, that is just more of what we need entirely. No, out with the alley transition that we do in.
Forget it.
In with the sound bowl.
In with the singing bowl.
Yeah, and Kylie's marvelous introduction.
Welcome to the Pure Curious Woman Podcast, where we have chats about things you didn't know you shouldn't know. You're welcome. I'm so glad.
I can't get it together.
My favorite thing is that you think this is funny, because I do too, but that you are my favorite. It's just great. It's so great. Thank you.
It's hilarious. I don't know why you wouldn't think it's funny.
This is the response I didn't know I needed. Thank you. Oh, Christ.
Need you to know that I am freshly washed today. My hair is it's still wet. Like I just got out of the shower. And
what's that like?
It's marvelous for wet.
It's marvelous.
But I needed you all to know. I needed to come here with wet hair because I needed to prove that I actually wash my hair from time to time.
I want to be clear that just because your hair is wet does not mean that it's been washed, and that doesn't tell us anything. I'm sorry.
Oh, but it does. Do you not see this volume? Like,
look at that, you guys! Catch her on the video, because this is something to be seen.
Oh, it's fully wet, but it's also super voluminous. Like that doesn't happen unless I do the wash in the shower.
Like 90% of women are like, yes, girl, please. Yes. I'll tell you, this volume is brought to you today by a 4-year-old dry shampoo that I found in my backpacking backpack.
What brand is it? What brand are we talking?
It's it's not your mother's. It's the other, I think it starts with a B.
Oh.
One of those. It was like a little mini travel bottle. It'll be gone in like 4 sprays, this mop. But, I mean, hey, this has been since Saturday. We're recording on a Friday.
Wow. That's like a full 7 days.
I mean, I could even arguably take it down. It's not super bad. I mean, it's not, you can cut, it's okay.
No, it's beautiful. You also can't, I cannot tell.
You can't really tell. I mean,
it's
maybe
great.
Because, Meg, please.
You could tell me you slept in a garbage can last night, and I would be like,
great. Send me the can. Send me the can. Oh my God. I will say, though, an actual dry shampoo, remarkable step up from using baking soda, which is what I normally do because I just didn't have it. Why don't I go to the 14, convenient places around this apartment to purchase one? Yeah, it's just too sensible. Why didn't I move this desk into the bedroom 2 years ago? Not sure. This is not a new piece of furniture. I'll have you know. This is not new. This was just in a different part of the house, Meg.
Oh, so for those of you just tuning in here, because we started recording right in the middle of what we were talking about, Kylie has upgraded officially to a big girl desk to record our podcast episodes.
I'm gonna share for those of you who are watching on YouTube. If I angle this way, she's not a professional. If I keep it right here, she's a plant lady. She's got it down. She must understand. She's so nurturing with those plants. Look, they're thriving. I mean, and just gotta look. Nice little actual, look at the mug and the light. I mean,
such a professional.
We're here.
Like,
Thank you.
You are a true pro. We said that you were a pro with a capital P before we started recording, and that is it.
Please ignore the reality that I also often have laundry hanging over here. That doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. In fact, it's endearing because it reminds me of the laundry pile that I have sitting on the other side of my room.
Listen, this is our favorite saying. come as you are. I don't know what to I mean, it is what it is. Come as you are. There's nowhere else for the laundry to be during the day. It's a gym in the kitchen, an actual gym, guys.
Yep,
So here we are.
Yep. For those of you who don't know, Kylie, your partner is a personal trainer, so that explains the gym. Although, wouldn't judge you if he wasn't. You just wanted a gym in your kitchen either.
I would. You tell me that you've got a squat rack in your kitchen, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? Come on. That can't be your choice. And if it is, like, let's talk. You're okay.
Maybe squatting and making pancakes is at the same time as a vibe. I don't know.
I'll let you know.
You let us know. Keep us updated.
I could have pancakes on the menu soon. Oh my God. This is such a fun episode because it's just the two of us today.
Yeah.
It's just us.
I love our guests too, but I love you so much, and I just adore chatting with you, and just so
it's special. It's nice. It's also a bit of a forewarning because there's going to be a lot of this, I think. Which is just great because we don't want to do it another way. It just is what it is. So
yeah. So for those of you who find us annoying, you can go ahead and fast forward. But
I would just
as much as we love us, and join us.
That little 15-minute second skip ahead is like my favorite button on podcasts. Oh God.
That's all right. I'm offended. It's fine. I'm enjoying myself.
It is what it is. Oh man. Meg, are you drinking anything fun over there?
So I'm not going to call it fun. I'm going to call it boring, but we are drinking.
Yeah.
We as usual have a smorgasbord of things. And I did, by the way, for those of you who tuned into our last episode, we recorded on Kylie's birthday, and I tried very hard to do something special for her birthday. So I have two updates for you. Is one, I could have sworn that I had one last packet of Four Sigmatic coffee in my cabinet somewhere, and I was like, I tore my whole kitchen apart looking for it, couldn't find it, so I just thought I had drank it. Guess what I found this morning?
No.
Yes, I did. So I did. I put it in for today. So we're still celebrating Kylie.
Cheers. It's been a week-long celebration, guys. Well, I've been saying there's nothing really remarkable about 33, so we're just sort of making it up. We're making it remarkable, and I am enjoying it. It's been lovely.
Absolutely. You know what's funny? That I had this conversation with my husband the other day because we were talking about how in your 20s, I feel like a lot of people think that hearing that you're turning 30 or 30 is so old or whatever. But then here's my question. Who taught us that? Because in your 30s, you're still young enough to be fun and enjoy, but you have money. I'm not saying my husband and I are rich or anything. We're certainly not. We are very wildly irresponsible. This
is also why I love you.
but we're not seeing out dollar pizza at 3 a.m. in New York City anymore. We can buy the real slice of pizza. I'm not feel guilty about it.
Meg, I can't believe you just said this. Brian was just saying this. I think this morning he was saying, when you getting older is great because we go on vacation and we can do things. We don't have to just pay for the ticket and then get drunk on cheap beer, which is not my experience on any vacation, but that's his experience. And now we get to actually do things. I think we learned this from the generation prior to us, who by our age has had all of the children that they're going to have and is living a much different life when they're going on vacation, if they're going on vacation. So I was thinking about that today. It's when my mother was 33, she had birthed 3 human beings and was functioning as a responsible part of society. I can't even fathom.
I can't. I was thinking about that same thing the other day because my parents got married. I think my mom was 28. My dad was a little younger. I think they had me when my mom was 30. And so at 33, my mom was pregnant with my brother and sister, I think. So she's about to have 3 children.
Are your brother and sisters twins?
They are.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Twins run in my family. It's really wild. I have a set of cousins that are twins too. And my brother and sister. And I guess that's the the most recent.
Brian is an identical twin.
Really?
And I was a twin.
Whoa, really? Wow.
Meg, we were just meant to be in each other's lives.
Oh,
I know.
My God.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa, that is crazy. Oh my
Whole new spin on Gemini, huh?
That's the first thing that I thought of is I was like, oh my God, she's a Gemini.
Yes.
How
appropriate?
how fitting.
Oh my God. Anyway, so your mother is about to, have 3.
Yeah. And I
just
was
insane.
there and I was like, did they feel how I feel being 33? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how they figured it out. 3 kids. Like, what?
I don't know either. I'm telling you, I've got one girlfriend from high school who's got 3 children. Hello, I love you, Sarah. But I have said to her many times, I don't understand. I don't know. And I've got several other friends at this point who are now on baby number 2. And let's be clear. They are happy and thriving and working and like they're doing the thing. I imagine, Meg, that if we were them, we would also do it. Mm-hmm. Can we just hope that that's the case?
No, I would not, but that's okay.
Oh my God.
It would be a disaster, complete dumpster fire, but it's okay. That's why my husband and I have chosen not to have human children. So
human children, 2 furry bunnies, different story.
They're my pride and joy. They're enough.
Oh, they're enough. Oh my God.
So, what are you drinking? That was a really long.
I have a smorgasbord as well. I've got, I have some coffee, nothing special, just black coffee.
Typical 2 p.m. coffee.
My typical, and I've got the rest of my athletic greens. I have, what's in here today? Some aloe, a little aloe in there.
Nice. I love
delightful.
That sounds so delightful. And
I actually have.
Go ahead.
What? I was going to say I've trained Brian. He now makes these and he knows all the things that are supposed to go into it. And when we run out of something, like today, we have to get more fish oil. And I do my supplements, like I fill the little boxes, you know what I mean? And so they're ready for the week. Mm-hmm. And then I forget to take them half of the time. So it lasts like 3 weeks. Let's be clear. Okay. Today he goes, Kylie, we need fish oil. I keep having to steal yours behind your back and I don't like it. Can you just order some? Does anybody else have great intentions for supplements and then forget to take them? Because I know, thank you. Mm-hmm. Anybody else out there, please let us know because I would like to be your friend. I know that I'm supposed to be good at doing it because we recommend them to people all the time with very, very serious intentions. Like this needs to be taken seriously. Here are all of the reasons why. Mm-hmm. I just am not in a serious thing right now. I'm doing it for my well-being, which should be a serious thing. And God damn, I just have a hard time. I think because unless I have an absolutely full stomach, I'm gonna vomit. Truly.
Yeah, that I can resonate with that for sure, especially with like some of the like really crazy antimicrobials that I've had to take just for like like that oregano, man. My clients on the org, they run with that. But
I'm gonna tell you, I took a gummy. Okay, guys, please, a gummy echinacea.
Oh, how was it?
It's a treat. It's my favorite part of the day. It's like a little candy. It's amazing. But I took, this was maybe a month ago, maybe 2. I took my 2. I had eaten breakfast. It was no big deal. I'm on the phone for the first time with a brand new client. And I said, I'm going to have to call you right back. And I vomited everywhere. You don't unsee that. You don't untaste that. I haven't had echinacea since. I haven't had them since. And it was nothing wrong with the gummies. Like, don't get me wrong. There was nothing wrong with them. That's how sensitive it can be. So sometimes I just get a little nervous. If you guys feel that way, just know you're not alone. You're not alone. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't take your supplements.
No, in fact, I was gonna say I totally hear what you're saying, because I too think I'm just a little lax with it, because I don't have like a focus. Like, it's just, I need vitamin D. I'm always low with, whatever. So it's like, let's take it when we remember. But I will tell you, I have to, if I'm on like a regimen, like I'm trying to actually correct something.
Yes.
I have like my phone and my list of alarms. That is my savior. So that keeps me on track. But I totally hear what you're saying when you're just kind of like, oh, it's for my well-being.
100%. I think that, thank you. That is exactly it. If I'm doing like a parasite kit or something, like one of those 3-day things, I will do the same thing. And it holds me accountable to eating at normal times too, because I have to, or else, so yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good segue into our topic for today.
And, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm been so excited for this interview, and so today our special guest is our very own Kylie, if you haven't already noticed. And she is a gut specialist. So as you know, we're both functional registered dietitians, but Kylie's background and her focus is primarily on gut health. And so I'm going to be picking Kylie's brain today. We're going to just have her share all her little knowledge or nuggets of knowledge with you all.
Yes.
So we've done a few episodes on specific gut issues, but I'm wondering, is there one that kind of sticks out to you that's just like a really close to home? I know you also talk a lot about the connection between gut and autoimmune, and I don't know if that's maybe a topic that you want to dive deeper into today, but I figured because we've already done episodes on IBS and IBD, if there's another gut-related condition that really feels close to your heart, or maybe we can dive into that autoimmune connection. I just want, where are you at today? What are you feeling?
Yeah, where am I at? Let's see. Well, I will say, maybe this is important to start with. Anybody who's got an autoimmune condition has something to address in the gut. And actually next week we're going to have an autoimmune guest coming on to speak to us, and she'll probably be sharing a lot of the connection between gut health as well, but from the lens of autoimmunity, just to kind of prove that point. So 70 to 80%, depending on where you're reading this information from, of your immune system, of our immune systems, is in the gut. So when you have an autoimmune disease, which by definition is the body is attacking itself, sort of on accident, right? It doesn't want to do that, but that's the message that got sent. Then you have to look at the gut. And here's the thing that I will always say to people, because the food component is so real and it's so emotional. And one of the number one reasons that in the feedback that I get from people for not addressing the food, for not looking at the food component and therefore the gut component, is that people don't want to know. Because once you know, you really can't justify poisoning yourself. And that's an exaggerated version, But so all of this to say, like, what goes through the gut? What goes through the gut? Your food. Our food does. And there are a lot of angles, as you know, even in your field, there's a lot of angles that people are exposed to. There's a lot of different approaches that people are pressured into, that they think they have to do or else. There's a lot of misinformation around it, and there's a lot of guilt. So I want to, if we can say this message while taking away all of those bullshit layers of feeling guilty, of not feeling like you're doing the right thing, of not knowing how to do it, which I'm going to address as well. I think the underlying really important message is that your food, in some way or another, no matter which way you cut it, is involved, because your food feeds your gut directly. Your food goes through the largest part of your immune system, through the gut, and it's either going to help or hurt.
Ooh.
And I don't mean that, you guys. I don't mean that from a calorie angle. You know, there will be a lot of people that are like, you are what you eat. If you eat like shit, you're going to be shit. You know, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not, I think that's not helpful. Maybe it's not even super untrue either. I'm not saying I'm against that. It's just not helpful.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you break food down into a set of instructions, which it is, food is a set of instructions, right? If we could take like,
I love that.
Yes, if we take the emotion and the sexiness away from food, it is telling your body to do something or not to do something. That's what it is. That's why we have to eat.
Can you dive deeper into that? Tell us more. I'm just so curious. That's like such a cool angle. And I'm
100%. Yeah. Okay. So what do I mean by that? So food is a set of instructions, and sometimes a food is going to tell your body to create a bunch of inflammatory reactions. And that food might be something that you might expect to do that. For example, something very processed, something that has a lot of ingredients that we don't recognize and can't pronounce. Or it could be chicken or celery or tomatoes or gluten or dairy or soy or nightshades, right? There's like tiny categories and then really large, overwhelming categories. But the point is that if you do not know what set of instructions the food is providing to your body now at this point, and you feel unwell, right? Let's couple those together. If you feel unwell, you have an autoimmune disease, you have IBS, you do not have a daily bowel movement, you have lots of daily bowel movements that are loose and urgent. If you feel like you don't get total clearance when you have a bowel movement, if you have heartburn, if you have acne, right? You could speak to that. If you have things like psoriasis or eczema, I think I mentioned autoimmune disease, Crohn's, IBD, you could go back and listen to Ashley's episode on this. If you are in one of these positions where you wake up and you don't know how well you're going to feel that day, and you are not aware of what message your food is sending to your body, right there is a starting point.
Oh my gosh. So
right there's a starting point.
I love that. That's so digestible and easy to like grasp. And also, I would love for you to expand on, because you went through a bunch of different types of foods too. And I think that it's really confusing for people, because I think in general, people just want to know like, what should I eat and what shouldn't I eat? Right. But it's not that simple. And I think what you're saying is that what's inflammatory, there are a small like group, well, maybe it's not, might not be that small, but there's a handful of foods or types of foods that tend to be inflammatory for most people. But then you started mentioning like celery or chicken, or like these things are not necessarily inflammatory to everybody. It's something that you have to learn as an individual. Is that right?
This is exactly right. And I'm going to say this part is really important. So those of you who are like, I'm out, I want you to hear this. Hear this.
Don't go out.
Okay.
Hang on.
Let me tell you, you are not going to be bested by celery. That's not the message, okay? That's not what we're saying. Like, your undoing will not be a carrot, okay? That's not it. That's not what we're saying. But what we are saying, and what you made a really good point about here, Meg, is that there are lots of different possibilities for people. And not all of you need this information. Let's start there. Not all of you need the deep dive. There are going to be some of you who none of this is going to apply to, because you don't have symptoms. You don't feel unwell. You wake up, you have tremendous energy. You can put on whatever article of clothing you want and you know that it's going to button because you're not bloated, right? You know, I don't know what that means. You can eat whatever you want, but really, you can eat whatever you want and not have to wonder where the nearest bathroom is. None of this. So if that's the case, cool. Great. But if that's not you and you haven't started anywhere with your food, then there are some really broad starting points that you might want to consider. And if those don't work, and we'll talk about what those are, but if those things don't work, then you have to go deeper. You have to get more curious. You have to become more specific in order to then almost earn the ability to come back up out of all of that. And this piece is really important because what are we talking about here basically? Elimination diets. We're talking about a variety of elimination diets, and that can be as broad as being vegetarian. It could be gluten-free, it could be dairy-free, you could be on a FODMAP diet, or it could be very, very specific and personalized, which is the type of work that I do. There's because people who come to me are like, they're done, they're over it, they're sick, they've tried all the things. So I want to make that really clear. Wit's end, they're at one end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And while it's going to be helpful for everybody, it might not be the appropriate starting point. And that's what I want to make clear, because that is going to be really overwhelming for a lot of people. And it will turn you off from wanting to even be curious and explore that piece. So I want to be really clear. If you're already there, no problem. Dive in. Let's go. If you're not and you would like to play around with some things on your own, let's talk about some of those options, because that matters. And that's enough for some people. It can be enough for some people.
That's
now,
such a great point. Yeah. It's like there's like different tiers or like stages,
yes.
I think.
Yes, there's a spectrum of feeling well and not feeling well. And I think any one individual can kind of slide up and down on that spectrum from day to day. But generally speaking, as you guys are listening to this, you can see yourself in one of these areas. You can. You can say, yeah, I haven't really paid attention to my diet. I guess that might be a starting point. Or you can see yourself as, I've been to 17 different doctors. I've tried every elimination diet. I don't care if she tells me to eat dirt. I'll do whatever you tell me to. I've had somebody say that to me, which is never what I do, by the way. That's called pica. But anyway, I think that if you are interested in starting on your own and being curious and trying to do a little step here without working with somebody, there's a couple different ways you can consider it. But this is what I'm going to say. Whatever you decide to do, it doesn't matter. But whatever you choose to do, you have to do it 100%. Do not half-ass an elimination diet, or you aren't doing yourself any favor at all. You cannot cut gluten out except for on the weekends, or except for that beer. Just choose to do it a different time. That's it. Choose to do it at a different time, because you're going to get inaccurate information for yourself. And that's just a disservice. It just feeds the cycle of frustration and feeling like you have failed somehow. Okay.
That's such a good point to say that. Yeah, because it's hard to do an elimination diet. It's hard.
You guys.
You can feel really gung-ho and ready to start. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then you're out with friends and you see them eating a burger and you're like, oh, like I really want that or something, maybe.
Yeah, because you're human. No, I think that's a really good point. Unless you have somebody holding you accountable, unless you know, because you have testing that shows this is a problem for you right now, and then you don't have to question it. You just know, and you remove it from your possible options for food. You are going to be swayed by the easiest thing. Because you know that you're guessing.
So let me ask you, in your practice, do you see a lot of, so I would imagine that by the time people come to you, they probably have done a good amount of work on their own. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This is how it is for my practice. So
no, you're right. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you say to them, or what does the conversation with them look like when you're hearing that they've kind of just been doing a lot of guessing? up until this time. So I guess it's not really a question. It's not a question that it is, but I haven't figured out how to it's not coming out.
Like, what do I say to them when they come in?
Yeah. Like, I want to know what the work that you do with them looks like, because I imagine there's still some trial and error because every individual is different, but I want to know what the container of working with you looks like as far as the guesswork goes versus what it might look like when someone's doing it on their own.
100%. Okay. So I got your question. Okay. So the first, I see you. The first thing that I really genuinely try to do is to tell them, good job. Yes. Great. All of the things that you've done so far are completely reasonable for you to have tried. The thought process behind everything that you've done makes perfect sense. Here's the thing, though. Just because I like to use this analogy, I know how to brush my teeth, right? Mm-hmm. We all know how to brush our teeth. We do it every day. However, have I brushed my teeth today? It's disgusting. Listen, when you don't leave the house, the routines change.
Oh my God, me too. I'm on fire because I have washed my hair and brushed my teeth and I put mascara on.
Meg!
Anyway.
Somebody give her a prize. You are doing it today. Yes.
Kylie said I did a good job, so my life is complete. Thank
you. Did a great job. Oh my God. So we brush our teeth and we know how to do that because somebody taught us. Somebody taught us how to do that. Now, just because somebody taught us how to brush our teeth does not mean that just because we brush our teeth and own teeth, that we could perform dental surgery. Mm-hmm. So, likewise, just because you are a human being and you have to consume food, and arguably somebody taught you how to use a cup and use your fork and knife, does not mean, therefore, that you should know and understand how to eat properly. And certainly not how to eat properly for an illness or for some sort of imbalance. It is not your fault. You were not taught how to do this. And guess what? Your parents probably weren't taught either. Who's teaching your mom and dad what nutrition was about? Because whatever they were teaching, a generation ago is not supported by the research. That low-fat diet stuff, it's not supported. So, the food pyramid, I learned the food pyramid. That's not even I would argue that governmental policies are far behind what the research is actually, it is very slow moving. And even still, we don't teach that anymore, but that's what people know. Mm-hmm. That's what people know. So guys, please just be gentle with yourselves. And that's so hard. Listen, I hear myself, okay? I hear what I'm saying. And it's very hard. But the truth remains that you can choose to approach this from a place of being emotional and beating yourself up, or you can choose to look at the truth. And the truth is that you don't know how to do the thing that is required of you right now. Period. You don't know how to do it. And that's okay too. Because there are which leads me to the next point. There's so much information out there. It's so overwhelming. Yeah. It's
I don't know how, I'm sure you deal with this a lot too, as I do, but I can't imagine sometimes. I'm like, I cannot imagine being a consumer, because I have clients that come to me and ask questions and they're like, oh, I got this product. It says it's organic or something, but they don't really know what it means. They just have been taught to think that organic means healthy. And I'm sure that's similar to what you're saying. It sounds like
totally.
There's so much information. Much of it is misinformation. And it's not your fault for believing it, because it's coming from places like you wouldn't think to question the food companies. You wouldn't think to question the government. You wouldn't think do you know what I mean?
You wouldn't think you wouldn't think that if you were buying a multivitamin that it's possible that what you're taking isn't actually being absorbed. That's not a thing that the normal average consumer is going to think. But yet, guess what? There are most supplements out there that you can buy at, any convenience store or any, like, you know what I mean? Most of them are made with so much garbage, first of all, and they are made with forms of the vitamins and minerals that our bodies don't absorb very well. So you are literally paying out your money. It's an unfortunate truth to say that you get what you pay for in the supplement industry. And it's not because good quality supplements are trying to rip you off. It's because they actually are putting the necessary resources into a product in order to help you. And the markup is not insane. People who sell good quality supplements make per supplement much less than what like one a day women's are making, because it costs them pennies to make something. Like I don't know that word for word, but the idea is that, it's really cheap to make. And then a consumer who thinks, you think you're doing something really good for yourself, and then you're not getting the benefit of your effort, let alone your money, and you get taken advantage of.
Right, and it's frustrating when you find that out as a consumer too. You're like, oh, man, like, I'm just trying to do the right thing, and then
again,
I know about all. Right, I know exactly. Then I got to know about all these different vitamins. And I think what you're saying, Kylie, is you don't necessarily like the idea of like, just because you have to eat doesn't mean you should know how to eat. Just because you maybe because you need supplemental support through supplements doesn't mean you should know how to navigate what the right supplements are for you. That's what people like you are here for. Right.
Exactly. And I want to throw this out there too. I don't want, some of you might know. Some of you might actually know, and I don't want to take that away. I'm really speaking to the people who are feeling like they've tried a million things and they're failing, and they are feeling and experiencing the truth that perhaps it's just that they weren't taught. And that's a frustrating reality. So I do like to start people there. Okay. And I then explain to them, this is very interesting. Food sensitivities, right? It's like people still argue whether or not these are a real thing. And like, I'm here to tell you, stop. Yes. There's just the food that we're eating today is not the same food that our grandparents were eating. It's not grown the same way. It's not produced the same way. There's no farms, like that's like small little garden, that's not, it's different. And so the ways in which it interacts with our body and therefore our experiences with the different food is also different. And so here we are, right? So a food sensitivity, essentially, it is not a food allergy. These are two different things, okay? And when somebody has a food sensitivity, you could consume that food and 72 hours later, up to 72 hours later, the physical symptom of that food sensitivity could manifest. So up to 72 hours. So here's what ends up happening. Yes, it's crazy.
I wouldn't even remember what I ate 3 days ago. That is
bingo, Meg. So Meg, yes. Thank you. This is exactly it, because this is what happens. Okay, for example, I'm drinking coffee right now. I'm drinking coffee, and then all of a sudden I feel really sick. I feel really, really unwell. Maybe I even get, who knows, right? You get your symptom, whatever that is. And so you think to yourself, it's coffee. I'm going to stop drinking coffee. And so you stop drinking coffee, and then 2 days later, you get the same symptom, and you think to yourself, well, what the fuck now? I cut out the coffee. I knew it was the coffee. Why am I still feeling this way? So you look at whatever you're eating at that moment, and you cut that out too. When all along, it wasn't the coffee. It was the apple that you ate 3 days prior. And so it can be so challenging to pinpoint these patterns and come up with a result that makes sense. Because when you're looking at it, you're like, again, an apple? Like, I'm not going to take apples out. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But it does, guys. And here's the thing. The food is not the actual problem. It has become wrapped up in part of the problem. It has become a part of the problem, which means that if we take that food out of your system for a little bit, help heal the actual problem, you should be able at least to have an opportunity to add that stuff back in. The point of an elimination diet is only as good and beneficial long term as your ability to reintroduce the things that you have eliminated. I want you to hear that. Yes.
So powerful. Say that one more time. So powerful.
You guys, this is real because so many of you are on such a restricted eating pattern. And again, for good intentions, like you're trying to do the thing and just like make it through the day. You've not done anything wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But an elimination diet is only as good as your ability to reintroduce the foods that you have taken out. That is the point of an elimination diet, to heal. And healing means being able to eat like a normal person.
Right.
Are there a few exceptions? Sorry, there are.
I have some questions.
Yes, tell me.
When you're finish your thought, because I don't want to interrupt your flow. Finish
no, go. I was just going to say that there could be. So some of you might be thinking like, what? That doesn't make sense. There could be a few exceptions. That's all I'm going to say. And that is super personalized. It depends on the person. Oftentimes it's gluten because it just creates a different type of memory cell. It's just different. So, but anyway, okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay. So I don't think we really went through, for those listening, people listening might be hearing this and thinking, okay, what kinds of things might I be experiencing? And I think it's probably a very wide range of things, but could you give us some examples of things that you see most often that might be a clue that somebody might be having gut issues, and including the ones maybe that aren't digestive related, if there are
Bingo.
any. So
yeah. Yeah, okay, let's start like top down. So neurologically, this is funny because I have not been able to have gluten for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years maybe. And my symptoms were never gastro related, never GI stuff. It was neurologically. And this is more than gluten. This could be anything, but gluten is a big one. It was neurological. So I was having these like seizures. I was very anxious. They weren't really seizures. Like they couldn't categorize them as seizures, but it was like that. And it felt that way. And I would shake and like I couldn't speak properly. I would have these weird episodes. That's the best way I could describe it, that I knew what I was trying to say out loud, but I couldn't develop the words to actually say it. It sounded a lot like I want coffee. Like I couldn't get it out. And when I cut gluten out, they went away. No, that's my story. For me, it was gluten, but it is a testament to a lot of, when foods are causing inflammatory reactions, that doesn't just stay in the gut. It's neurological. Plus, we know, everybody at this point knows about the gut-brain connection. So as things are getting messy in your gut, things are getting messy in your brain. As things are healing in your gut, things can heal in your brain. And so,
that's so
yeah,
a little like snippet. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and it's nice to think about the other side of it, like the other side of the coin. Because if things are a mess, then it also means that if you improve them, you're going to see improvement everywhere. So things could be neurological. And what does that? It could be anxiety, depression, brain fog, huge one, brain fog, exhaustion, huge, ADD, ADHD. I'll tell you, I don't ever talk to people about medications and whether they should come on or off of them. It's completely outside of our scope. I encourage them to, do whatever they feel they need to do. But I have had several clients choose to come off of depression or anxiety medication because they felt better once they fixed the imbalances in their gut. Right. So do not underestimate this, you guys. And this goes back to your food is a set of instructions. And sometimes those instructions are also instructing your brain.
Yeah.
So that's worth knowing.
Yeah.
you could have skin manifestations of food sensitivities or intolerances. So this might be psoriasis or eczema or acne or just, those like red bumps that a lot of people will have on the backs of their arms.
Ketosis pilaris.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. That can be a sign. Ringing in your ears can be a sign. That incessant need to clear your throat. Now that could be a sign of a million things, but that could be it. And then, of course, heartburn. The symptoms of low stomach acid and the symptoms of too much stomach acid. You guys, if you hear nothing else, those symptoms are the same. They are the same things. So if you have been on omeprazole or popping Tums left and right or some other type of PPI and you don't feel better, I urge you to consider the fact that perhaps you have low stomach acid and that maybe you're making the problem worse. Okay, that was a side tangent.
Yeah,
side tangent.
But so important because I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, of course.
Have I've argued with doctors about that before several times.
Awful. It's awful. And well, it's not awful, is it? It's coming from a good, sensible place. There's a person in front of me who is suffering and they're telling me that they have heartburn. I want to help them. It makes sense that if they have heartburn, I should help them suppress their stomach acid. It's just not always the helpful things, so okay, but I digress. And then there's sort of the obvious things that people will experience: diarrhea, constipation, which, by the way, constipation, technically, if you're not having a bowel movement every day, you're constipated.
Ooh, good to know. Okay.
Stomach cramping, bloating, that like really awful feeling that after you eat, you look like you're 4 months pregnant. I had a doctor once where I told her that and she laughed at me. She said, "You do not look like you're pregnant." And I was like, that is not the point. You're missing it. Thank you, but that's not the point.
How dare you ignore my food baby? That is so rude.
I wouldn't ignore your real baby.
Ignore my food baby, god damn it.
But it's really frustrating, right? It's really, really frustrating. And here's another one. How about this one? Joint pain. Any diagnosis that ends in itis, like arthritis, is inflammation of that thing, which means that you need to pay attention to your food because it is the thing that we all do that goes through your gut that is responsible for your inflammatory reactions because that's your immune system.
Yeah.
So any inflammatory based disease, which is arguably everything, is connected here. And so you might be feeling like, I don't really feel like I have any of those things, but I'm very curious if there's a way that I could be even better. And I have a few of those clients where they just want to pop in, they do a little testing package and they learn what their body is currently, informing in terms of inflammation rather than something that typically would be very beneficial. And they choose what they want to do with that information. So, you got people, like we said, on all spectrums of the scale.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we now have a wide range of just ideas. And so for someone who's sitting there hearing you going through all those things, many of those things, to your point, could also be because of something else. So where would you recommend that someone who's hearing, oh, hey, I have joint pain sometimes, I do feel really anxious, I do struggle with ADHD or whatever it is, where would you recommend that that person starts if they're not, or maybe the starting point is to do testing or something like that? I don't know. But what would you recommend for that person? Yeah,
that's a great question. And I'm going to answer this loosely because each of you listening is a perfectly unique and complicated person. So if something that I'm saying for you does not resonate and feel right, shoot us an email and ask the question specifically, and we can help provide a little bit more context. But generally speaking, if you have not already explored what is coming into your diet, what is coming into your body that it then has to deal with, That's the starting point. So what does that mean, right?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, oh,
yeah.
wow, you're speaking Spanish? What does that even mean?
Exactly. So that can look like a million different things. So at the top layer, for example, you might just consider, do I consume mostly foods that do not have a packaging or don't have a food label? The food that I consume that does have a label, do I understand what the ingredients are, or is the list as long as the package? Do I recognize, can I pronounce these items? If you have to Google them, that's a starting point, swap out the things, consider swapping out the things that have a really long ingredient list for an alternative. You don't have to totally ditch it necessarily, but just swap things out and see if that's helpful. Because again, everything that comes into your body has to do something with it. Either has to use it or choose to get rid of it. And either way, it takes energy and potentially causes inflammation. So if you're giving your body less to have to deal with in terms of having to get rid of unusable pieces, okay, that's less energy. That's like inviting 50 people to a wedding instead of 150 people.
I love this idea, and I want to expand on it because I think a little experiment would be fun. Are you up for an experiment?
Meg, point? Do you know me?
Okay.
Bring it.
Let's Google, like in the spirit of like nutrition labels, right? The first things that come to my mind that don't have to have such complicated ingredients, but they often do, are like pasta sauces or tomato paste, for example, or
unbelievable granola bars.
That's a good
Huge
one. So all right, so what's your most common thing that you help clients find kind of like a less complicated version of? And then we'll pull up, the listeners can't see it, but they can hear it. So we'll just run through it. We'll compare them just so they can really see what you're talking about.
This is an awesome. Okay, yogurt.
Okay. Ooh, great one.
That's a huge one. Huge one.
Let's see. Is there a brand? Like a popular brand would be like, I don't know, Chipotle,
like Dannon.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, let's do Dannon yogurt ingredients.
This is great. And listen, no, like this is not personal. Please, we're not attacking you.
Yeah,
this is really like.
Don't come after us, Dannon, with your $millions of lawyers and stuff. We're just trying to prove a point here.
Yeah. And we're also like, if you like Dannon, okay, no problem. I'm not coming at you in your kitchen, but I am this like to the point that if you don't know.
Right.
You don't know, right? That's what this is about. That's what this is about.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the ingredient list for the vanilla. All right.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. Grade A milk, water, cane sugar, food starch, contains less than 1% of natural flavors, lemon juice concentrate, carob bean gum, milk, calcium, vitamin D, contains active yogurt cultures, S. thermophilus, and L. bulgaricus.
So,
like, why is that there?
Now let's look up Siggy's vanilla yogurt. We'll keep it vanilla. Like, yeah, I love Siggy's.
God, I love Siggy's so much. Okay, hold on. Vanilla yogurt ingredients. Okay.
I will tell you.
Are we
Go ahead.
Non-fat or the whole milk? What was the other?
Let's do whole milk.
Yeah, the other one was whole, I think, from what I saw. Okay, wait, where's the ingredients here?
I'll tell you while you're looking that up. I just made chicken that you put. Have you ever put yogurt on chicken to bake it? Ew, I know.
I haven't. No, I haven't like a sauce. Like I've used yogurt to make like a curry or like a tikka masala sort of based. Like it, I've done that with chicken, but no.
This is just like chicken. Put the Siggy's yogurt right on the chicken, and then I air fried it. It was amazing. It was so moist and delicious. I know. Thanks for that, Siggy. I know. God. Anyway, what'd you find?
Okay, so here is the ingredients for Siggy's. This is again the counterpart of Dannon. So we're sticking with vanilla. Pasteurized whole milk, pasteurized cream, organic agave nectar, Madagascar bourbon vanilla, fruit pectin, live active cultures. End scene.
So that's it. End scene, period, end. And that might not be like the most dramatic difference, but there's no food starch. There's no, there were a few other, you guys could look this up too and just see. We want simpler ingredients. We want the lists to be as short as possible and as recognizable as possible. So let that be a starting point. And again, if you could take a look at what you're currently doing and keep what you're doing. Just swap things out. That could be a very reasonable starting point.
That's such a good point. I love that. And I think there's something also to be said for where you're shopping too. At least what I found is like, I use tomato paste as like the wildest example because I personally was the most surprised by it. And I was so
you're right.
Like if you pick up a can of tomato paste at like Safeway or ShopRite or something, it's tomatoes and lemon juice concentrate and citric acid and like all kinds of stuff. But then, and I'm also not like full on supporting Whole Foods by any means, but I got you using it as an example that there are things there, brands that the only ingredient is tomato. So it's like, it's just about simplifying is what you're saying.
It is about simplifying. And I'm going to just point something out about what you're saying, because this weighs very heavy on me. And this is real, you guys. By nature of the very real truth of what you just said, some of this stuff is not available to a lot of people. It's not available. Either it literally isn't available because the store like that doesn't exist where they live, or financially, it's just out of the question. Buying organic produce, buying pasture-raised meat, like it's not even an option. And that, you guys, that's real. And it's broken and it's wrong, but it is. It's real.
Right. We're just as mad about it as you guys are. But, so what, in the meantime, then, where would you suggest? I mean, you could still do what you're saying if you don't have access to these stores for whatever reason or these things. So like, what are some examples that come to mind for you in that context? So we're not talking about like the fancy yogurts or the fancy tomato paste or fancy oat milks or even orange juice, like whatever it is. What are some examples that people can really focus on that are pretty widely accessible as far as making better, like less complicated?
In terms of brands, say that again. Say it another way.
It could be brands, but it could be foods, like just in general. If you don't have access, like let's say you get a client who's like, I shop at ShopRite and that's all. And so like, what suggestions would you have for that person?
Okay, perfect. I got you. I would say take a look at what is available through a new lens. Most of the time we go to the store and we see the same things over and over because we buy the same things over and over. We're not looking for an alternative. The only time we're looking for something different is if we annoyingly discover that what we want isn't there. So you actually might find that there are a lot of alternative options. You just didn't know it because you're not looking for it because you don't know you might have to. And so let's expand on this idea. Let's take the next layer down. Maybe you try swapping out all of your foods. You have pretty simple ingredients. You've got that down as best you can, and you're still not feeling great. Then I would say, and this, you guys, I'm sorry, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. But you might just have to track. You might have to take 2 weeks out of your whole entire beautiful life and track what the hell is coming into your body. Now, here's what I mean, and here's what I don't mean. We're not talking calories. We're not talking macros. Now you can do some of these things later if you're really if that's a different goal, but that's not the priority at this point. You need to take a look at what ingredients are coming into your body. So when I say track, I mean write down the food if it's a whole food. If it's, for example, if you are using a protein powder, I'm making this up completely. Make sure you know exactly what's in that protein powder. If you're having a yogurt, write down the exact brand so that you can come back to that. Maybe it's not the yogurt and just one weird thing in it. Same with anything, chips, a granola bar, a sauce, a soup, a condiment. I don't care. Take 2 weeks, track what's coming into your body and your symptoms every day.
Yeah.
And then this is, if you can imagine, even more annoying, is trying to find the patterns between the foods that you're eating and your symptoms. And you might go so far as to say, okay, every day that I have this symptom, I'm also having within 24 hours this food, within 48 hours that food, within 72 hours. It's almost overwhelmingly impossible, but you might be able to pick out a few things that will kind of empty that bucket just enough for you to feel like a normal person again.
Yeah. And I also think that just tracking all that stuff, having all that information alone, you may feel very overwhelmed because also the thing you're trying to do, there's so much weight attached to it because you're probably so miserable, right? Like
totally well said.
But you will absolutely learn something by so it's kind of like a fun experiment you can just try. It sounds like maybe just try to remove the weight from it and just see what you find, you know?
No, Meg, you're so right. I love that you bring that up because it is overwhelming and it does seem like you're punishing yourself sometimes. But like maybe if you're deciding to do it, ask yourself, how can I make this fun?
Yeah.
Even if you have to lie to yourself a little bit, like how can I make this just, to use Selena's verbiage, 1% less miserable, right? And have that mindset going into it. Because ultimately, as we discussed, your mind impacts the way that you feel. Directly, it impacts your gut, but just emotionally and energetically, it matters. It matters. So, not to say that it's essential, but, why not try? It can be hard. It's going to be really hard. And then we get my people who have done all of these things, and it's just too much.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw a real zinger in there. Sometimes changing your food is not enough. If you have an infection, if you have dysbiosis, if you have a parasite, if you have candida, you cannot eat your way out of an infection. You can't change your food and kill a live organism in your gut. You can't. Okay. Sometimes it will help, but so what you do is well, I guess it depends. So there are choices. Can you go to your doctor and get an antibiotic? It's always a choice. It's not one that I usually recommend, with the exception of Xifaxan for SIBO. And most of the time, the people who are coming to you and I, Meg, like that's not what they want either. Yeah, right. We know our audience, right? Yeah. But there's a ton of herbs that are extremely beautiful antimicrobials. I mean, backed by tons of research, really, really great. And they don't have the kind of sweeping negative impacts that antibiotics have, right? So, I mean, gosh, you could do a whole separate episode on that.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should. But I want to say that to encourage those of you who are like, what is wrong with this girl? I have done everything she said and I still feel like shit. I see you also. I metaphorically see you, and I literally see people like you in my practice, because the reality is that sometimes, most of the time, the food, like I said, it didn't start with the food.
Right. Totally. Yeah. The food is a trigger, or makes it worse.
It became a part of the problem when the immune system inaccurately identified it as some sort of problem. But that didn't, unless you got food poisoning. And then it started with the food.
Even then, not technically though, because actually you get food poisoning from a bacteria, from an
totally true.
It's still not the food. So
it's still not the food. Yeah, you're completely accurate. Yeah, totally true. That's a very good point.
Everybody hear that. It is never I don't think food is ever a cause of something, unless like it's a pattern, right? Like you're just eating straight garbage that could cause a lot of
yes, that's true. No, that's real. And listen, if that's you, you know it. Like, you know that. Right. And also, unless it's celiac disease or like and even then you could argue that it's, you get celiac from things, yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. But that being said, you have to address the food in order to heal the underlying problem.
Totally. So I love this message that you're sending us, and I love all the things you're saying, but one of the things I think is unique about what you're saying is that a lot of people tend to, and I think that's why we get the questions as dietitians a lot. We get the what should I eat and what shouldn't I eat, is because I think people just they are under the impression that food is often the cause of something. And what you're saying is that it's rare that it is. There are certain exceptions, but it maybe starts as a trigger, or then eventually becomes part of the problem and making it worse. So it has to be part of the solution, but it's not the only solution. And to your point about if there's an infection or something much bigger than food, you also can't eat your way out of that either. So it's okay to use things, whether you choose medication or herbals, but I bring that up because I think a lot of people tend to maybe feel like they might be failing if they can't like follow the Candida diet, which is fucking hard. I don't ever, God, that's hard. But, like it's not enough in a lot of cases. So
there's also so much in that specific thing. So Candida people, there's a lot of mixed research that like the Candida diet, like I said, it might help. The point behind something like that is to help you feel more comfortable while you treat, while you intervene, right? Yeah. So it's not on its own very likely going to kill. It might help starve off. And it's the same thing with FODMAP diet. I know a lot of you are trying FODMAP diets right now, and you might even have been like unceremoniously handed a random sheet of paper with the FODMAP diet on it by your doctor and have no idea what to do with it. But I think the thing I want you to remember is, yes, you might be feeling better on that, and that is the point. But the moment that you stop eating that way, you're going to feel like garbage again, and that is not the point.
Right. Oh, that's so well said. I love that.
Remember, an elimination diet is only as good as your ability to reintroduce things. So
yes. Oh, I'm so happy you said that. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have undone a lot of things right now, this episode. We have really we've addressed a lot of things, and I have a ton more questions, but I feel like
this is good.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to, that you like, messages that you think are important, or topics you really want people who think they might be struggling with gut related issues or who know they are to know?
Yeah. I think the consistent message tends to be, you are not alone. You're not alone. And even though I know personally that it can feel that way, and it does feel that way. It's okay that you feel that way, first of all. It's okay, but it's not true. It's not true. And there are people who want to be on your team, who want to listen to you, who give a shit about what you're telling them, and know that you know you best, and want to help you feel safe and secure and good in your own body. But we exist in this world. And well, here we are. And if you are feeling burnt out, that's okay. Also okay. Probably completely rational and validated to feel that way. But I want you to know that there are choices. Like, you can get some really specific testing done, stool sample testing, food sensitivity testing. Quick note. Not all yes, not all created equal. And that's all I'm going to say. You get what you pay for. If you're doing it at home and mailing it in, you're probably not getting the full picture, and you're going to feel super confused and frustrated. Not all created equal. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So, but you can do these things and get somewhat of a blueprint about what's currently happening in your body. And when you have that blueprint, whether it's about what's going on in the gut, or what's going on with your food, or what's going on with your nutrient status, or what's going on with your hormones, whatever it is, when you have that blueprint, you are now in a position where you can choose to do something specific and organized and justifiable. For example, if you get your food sensitivity testing back and it shows you 20 different things that you can't eat, it's going to be a pain in the ass for you for a little bit, but you're going to know why you're doing it, and you're going to be able to stick to it because you can justify the effort behind it. And that is a game changer. When you can justify it for yourself, it just changes everything. When you can justify why you're taking some sort of supplement that you don't enjoy taking or that you can't remember to take, if it's Meg and I, then just like we started out saying, when we're on a specific protocol to heal, that shit gets in. We get it in because we can justify it. Yeah, you just change. Yes, your mindset around it changes. The priority changes, and that's important. So if you're feeling like you've done all of that you can on your own, please know that you don't have to do it on your own, and there are lots of options, and not everybody is for you. Yeah. Maybe that is a good thing. Not all practitioners are for you. And here's the thing about doctors, just lastly, is that we have to be gentle and kinder because they are not mostly, for the most part, they're not taught nutrition. Mm-hmm. They're not taught how to help you use food to heal yourself. And so when people get frustrated, which is totally valid, I get it. Yeah. But when you get frustrated because your doctor didn't even ask you about nutrition, like, please just try to remember that that's, even if they asked you, they're not equipped to help you change it. You just have to go to the people that have the type of information that you're seeking out. Go to the person who has what you are seeking. And then you could get pissed off if they don't do it, right?
Yeah. And that's such a good point. It's important to remember that doctors are, their study is the study of medicine. That's correct. What that is. They have a doctorate of medicine. That is
correct.
Right. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that their curriculums wouldn't really be laced with a ton of nutrition, and it's not. And if you have a doctor, you're fortunate enough to have a doctor who is knowledgeable about nutrition. Just know that person went out of their way to get that additional training. And
bingo.
Yeah.
And tell us who they are so that we can share their information.
Yeah, maybe we'll have them on. Please share their with us.
Actually, that's a great idea. If you have a doctor who you absolutely adore, who cares about you and listens to you and has helped you heal in a way that feels good and true and authentic to you, let us know. Send us their information and where you live, and we'll share that, because that's the kind of stuff that people need. That's the kind of information people need. Yeah.
So I actually have a client, or a former client of mine in mind, who told me about her primary is a combo primary doctor and RD, and she loves her. So
what?
I'm gonna reach out to her and ask her if we can, maybe she'd want to be on our show.
Do I need to go to med school? That's all I'm thinking now. It's like, do I want to be a primary and an RD?
Side note, I have one of my very good friends this is the one who we are going to probably have her on at some point to talk about her birth story.
Yes.
She is planning on going to medical school, and she is an RD. So, and her main goal, she wants to be in the role of a primary doctor because she wants to be in that, like, on the front lines to talk about nutrition. It's so magical. Like, and
that's amazing.
You, girl. We love you. Keep going.
Yes, and cannot wait. Heal yourself up because we want you on here. Get that baby growing so we can get you on here. Oh my God.
So Kylie, but I want to know if you feel like it feels right to you. If you can tell us what working with you might look like, but more so where people can find you and
okay.
They can learn. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Strata Nutrition is the name of my practice. I named it. Thank you, Meg. Thank you. Yeah. It was very, very intentional. So it's a reflection or a little head nod to the very, very many layers that make up who we each are, and the many, many layers that deserve attention when it comes to healing. And so for us, it's nutrition and gut health, and soon to be supplements, and hopefully soon to be a mental health aspect that some people also have. So, there are many layers, and whether we are all aware of what those are at any given time, doesn't matter. the nod to the reality that they exist is more so the point. So stratanutrition.com is my website. On Instagram, I'm the gut therapist with periods in between each of the words, the gut therapist. And that's where you can find me. Yeah. There's a quiz on my website that might help you understand which of the services might be a good starting point to consider. But I really just love connecting with people. So if you just want to shoot me an email, my email is on my website or shoot me a message on Instagram. I think that piece is really important, right? This is vulnerable, deep, sometimes embarrassing work. And if you don't feel a connection with me to be able to really do that, then I'm not the person for you. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And all of those links will be in our show notes as usual, as well as a little bullet point breakdown of all the main takeaways as usual. I have to get better at reminding people that is there. So that will be there. And so what is do you want to just give us a little tidbit about what working with you looks like?
Yes, totally. So 100%. So there are a couple different options, a couple different on-ramps for people. So some people are like, I need the hand holding. I can't be trusted. I don't want to do this on my own. Don't treat me like a child. I want you to be there every step of the way. To which I say, hello, my dear friend, here I am for you. That sounds great. And so typically speaking, I start people in 3-month containers for that. We do appropriate testing during that period of time, and then a tremendous amount of teaching. What are your new non-negotiables? We've learned X amount of information about you during this period of time, and we have developed that you must do XYZ with your food in order to maintain the healing that you've done. So we kind of break things into 3 pillars, if you will. Identifying what are the problems, what are the barriers, what's not a problem, where can we leave? We don't have to pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. And then the second part would be, implementing some sort of action, the intervention, right? What are we going to do? And that part takes quite a while. And then the third part is maintaining. But like I said, you can't maintain anything if you don't know how to do that. So you've come in knowing what you knew, which wasn't working. Mm-hmm. So how do we fill in the blanks? How do we fill in the blanks with like the new seeds, if you will? And that's a really big part. And so that's one option. And then not everybody wants that or is quite ready for that. And so they do testing packages. So they could do a stool sample testing package, meaning they get the test and a 90-minute session. And they could do that with food sensitivities. And they could also do that with the nutrient testing. So vitamin and mineral testing. And then from there, sometimes people say, I actually have no idea what you're talking about, and I need to be having my hand held. Let me do one-on-one. And that's okay too. And then a lot of my clients graduate into the Gut Tribe, which is a fabulous, fabulous community. It's invitation only. It's typically for my clients who just need a couple touch points. They don't need their hand held because they've been taught enough. They don't need me breathing down their necks. But they come together to share their experiences and to support each other and just have a little bit of accountability and access to resources. So I love that. That's that.
Oh my God, Kylie, thank you so much. I'm so thrilled that we got to do your interview because I think you just are a wealth of knowledge, and the way that we were able to just, because as we talked about in the beginning, gut health is like such a broad topic. We could break it down by IBS or IBD or like the autoimmune connection or whatever, but I think we really talked about a lot of very important aspects of gut healing, yet we weren't quite like super specific either.
I agree.
Really cool. And love that.
I agree. And I think that is where most people are living.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I would agray.
In the sort of like unknown, I'm not sure kind of phase. If you know, I know I have IBD. I know I have this disease, and then you kind of have a little bit of a framework, hopefully. But the rest of us, we're out here in La La Land. And so hopefully my hope for you guys from this conversation is that you have a slight bit of organization to some sort of action to take. And if you don't feel that and you feel more confused, like I said, shoot us an email, either of us, and let us know. Meg deals with a lot of gut health stuff too in her work. So it's not just me here. So please, that is what we're here for. Trust me, we'll let you know if it's time to just schedule an actual appointment. But we want you to feel supported and we want you to have resources. There's a ton of free resources on my website as well, so you guys could help yourselves to that stuff. It's there to be supportive. This podcast is here to be supportive, right?
Yes.
And not just with this interview, but everybody's.
Yeah. And specifically for gut health, we have other episodes we have our IBS episode, we have IBD, we have the autoimmune one that's coming out soon. We have, is that gut related? I mean, everything's related.
Yeah, we've got a PCOS one, we've got a hormone one. It's all there, guys. It's all there. And it is meant for you. It is. So, and actually, Meg, on that note, we should remind people, if there is a topic that you're particularly struggling with personally, or you know a lot of people and you think it would be helpful to kind of bring an expert on and bring light to that, let us know. We take that really seriously. We want to support you in that way. I can't stress that enough. Or if you are that professional, please reach out to us. We would love to like shine a spotlight on you and bring your brilliance to the world. So that being said, guys, thank you. Yay. Thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful. I love you, Meg. This was great.
I love you, Kylie. This was awesome. Okay, stay tuned.
Bye, guys.
Bye.